type of blog podcast. Seems like
Remote
it's
podcast. Okay.
yeah.
Do you usually have guests there in person?
Um yeah, I do. Like I interviewed my brother a couple of weeks ago, well, a couple of months ago, and he was right next to me. I interviewed a friend. He was right next to me, but it was in person. And then eventually I think what I'm going to start to do is also record like on the spot depending on the situation if it makes sense.
Oh, okay. Like an interview style?
Yeah.
Like to certain locations?
Exactly. So I'm like slowly like building out my podcast equipment, slowly getting there, which
That's
is
cool, man.
unfortunate.
Good to know you're growing.
Yeah.
I, I, I got a chance to listen to some of your most recent podcasts.
Okay.
I think you know, the one about going through Amazon and um, like maybe not the most recent, but I think the
Yeah.
one where you started talking about Kenyan coffee. But didn't get a chance. I've been a little bit busy, and I have a kid. She
Yeah.
doesn't always leave. She's a toddler at toddler stage right now.
Yeah. Totally get it. I totally get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have two kids myself. They're a little bit older. They're like my daughter, she's 10, and my son is 8. So
yeah, 10 and 8, huh?
nice. Yeah, 10 and
The
8.
Yeah. Well, I hope it gets easier as it
It's
as we
getting
get older. Huh?
easier. It's just different. It's one of those things where they throw you for another curveball, and now you have to like
Adjust.
pay
Yeah.
attention to them and just exactly. But it's pretty cool to kind of like literally just talk to them, and they respond to you either rudely or answering your question. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's the yeah. That's the tweens. What do you call it? The tweens before they turn teen.
Exactly. It seemed like it's already here though.
Is it? Oh yeah. Mine's a little bit earlier too. Like she's a little bit more developed in terms of like she learned how to walk at like 10 years old. So I've been
Yeah.
chasing her for a long time now. I
Oh
mean at
wow.
10 months old.
10
Sorry,
months.
10 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, 10
Nice.
months.
Cool. So
So,
I guess
oh,
I
go
guess
ahead.
I guess we can go ahead and get going. A little back talk here and there. I usually say this, which is kind of weird saying this to somebody else because I'm usually talking to myself, but I'm gonna say it anyway. We
Yeah.
live, we live right now. So,
All right.
so my name is I go by Oaks usually, but my real name is Oki. And your name is Rural.
Raul. Raul.
Raul. Okay, I always wonder
Yeah.
about that. Sometimes it's some people pronounce it Raul or Raul. Okay, cool. And I know we've been going back and forth between emails and stuff like that. And I thought that, I'm sure we have a lot of things in common, things to talk about, of course, about coffee. But it's one of those
Definitely.
things. It's one of those things to where, you know, like I was telling my wife, I can talk to myself for about 30 minutes. So, like you said, we'll probably more than likely have a part two. So, I think it'll be fitting to see if you want to ask me questions first.
Oh, I guess. Uh, I guess the first question. I think one of the first questions, and the ones that I like to discuss about is like brewing styles.
Yeah.
Like, what's your preferred? I, I mean, I know you asked me too, but I want to know what your preferred brewing style is.
Yeah, my favorite is Hario V60. I haven't done a video yet, mainly because I want to get a little bit better. I want to get a little bit better with YouTube before I actually do a full on like tutorial type of video on the Hario V60. I think that's the reason why I'm doing a lot of just overviews right now. But
Hmm.
Hario V60 is my favorite. It's my go-to. It's one of those things to where I can brew a cup of coffee. I can tell if it's good or not, you know. And I think I saw in one of your messages that you said that you cup. We could talk
Yeah.
about that later because
Okay.
I don't cup at all. So, but
That's actually very helpful.
oh, for real?
Oh, for real? Yeah, very helpful to kind of when you're trying to when you're trying to figure out your beans, right?
Right.
Not necessarily already if you're trying to do like improve your V60, it's not going to really help anything. But
Yeah.
well, maybe someone might find it helpful if they're trying to do something else with it. But
Yeah.
if you're if you're mainly trying to just figure out your roast, yeah, definitely very important to compare in like cupping with cupping, like maybe like you sent me. I did receive your Kenyan coffee.
Okay. Okay.
I
You said you
actually have
haven't tasted that one yet, right?
no, I actually have those lined up, and and I know where we can go on, probably go on for a long time talking about those if
Which
maybe
one did you
for
taste? Which one did you taste already?
well, I started with Honduras. I did
Ah,
that,
okay.
and then the Brazil.
Okay. So let me ask you about Honduras. What do you think about it? You know, okay, because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Hmm.
okay, what you taste, what roast degree you think it was, and all that stuff, and what did you taste?
Well, it's definitely on like the darker end to my palate,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially compared to the Brazil. The Brazil, I I guess that's a different topic, but just talking about Honduras, it I think I had more of a like upfront, like very what some people call strong.
Uh huh.
So actually, I'm actually trying to prepare some right now
Okay. Okay.
to try as an espresso because to me I thought it'll probably shine better in espresso
Right. Right.
if you're gonna like add milk, maybe a latte.
Exactly. Uh huh.
It'd be really good. But I'm just gonna try the espresso by itself and try to see if I can detest taste those taste notes. I try not to read the taste notes
Yeah. Yeah.
before
Yeah.
tasting it, because yeah, because it'll like if you think
Mm-hmm.
apple, then you'll probably envision apple or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, just you just give me like about a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
Actually, not
Yeah.
a few minutes. More like it's already. I got like an old espresso machine that takes a while to like warm
Which
up.
one? Which one do you have?
Uh, you well, it's a barista. It's a Starbucks. It's a little bit more of a
Okay.
vintage
Okay.
espresso maker, but it is very good quality. It's built by Seiko.
Okay.
I think it was back in 2000 maybe. So it hasn't shown its age yet, but in terms of styling, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but yeah, you're gonna hear me grind some coffee beans right
Ah, not a
now.
problem. Not a problem. You know, it's interesting because, like, you know, like in the coffee world, there's like so many things out there with espresso and even drip and all that stuff, and I tend to just kind of keep it more simple, especially with espresso. That's actually going to probably be my next YouTube video, talking about espresso, talking about the new coffee, and then kind of exploring it that way, you know. But I'm really curious to see. I'm gonna look up your machine because I have a Olympia Cremina.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
Yep.
lever. It's a lever machine.
Oh,
So
nice.
so so it's even more vintage. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
if
a 1967 or something like that.
yeah, where'd you if you don't mind me asking, where did you come up on it?
Um, I went back and forth to what to get, and I'm glad I got this one in particular. It's a 48 millimeter portafilter basket, and I just wanted something that was just like old school and something that I can kind of repeat and learn from there. So I started doing research on it years ago, like 8, 9 years ago, and I was like, okay, let me just see what this is all about. And I went ahead and bought it off eBay, got it restored. I shipped it out to somebody, and I've been playing around it here and there. I probably actually use espresso probably twice a month, which is not a lot, you know.
It is a little bit more time consuming, especially if you
Yeah,
got kids, right?
exactly. I tend to do it mostly over the weekend, you know, to kind of just play, do something different, you know.
Right. It's a little toy, right? It's like
Exactly.
I don't know if you ever listened to Hoon's Coffee. Like, shout out to that guy. He always goes live and does these podcast or I guess YouTube,
Yeah,
like through
yeah.
YouTube,
Uh
and
huh.
he just speaks about espresso as of like like all the puck prep that really takes
Yep.
into to play. It's like if you're single and you live on your own or
You do that all day long, right?
even yeah you can definitely like tune in on it. Um, but
Yeah.
I have a little cheat way of doing it, and this machine came with a like a pressurized portafilter, meaning you don't really have to grind to
Ah,
the
okay, gotcha.
perfect. Yeah,
And it
yeah.
still does a pretty good job.
Oh yeah, it's done. In the beginning, I didn't like it, but that's because I was probably using bad coffee.
Yeah.
Um, but then I kept I stopped using this for a while, and um, came back to it recently when I wanted to test out my naked portafilter on it
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see like I was assuming, oh yeah, naked was better, um, but it's not always the case when
Yeah. I
especially
have a
when you're trying.
naked too, but like you're
Hmm.
right, it's one of those things to where it helps just to more so see if you did everything right, but sometimes it's too wide and you want to make sure you do capture all the coffee, you know.
I say it's good for learning, right? It's good
Right,
for learning.
right.
but but for yeah, but definitely definitely it's good to it's I like it because you get to see it, like I'm a visual person, so you get
Yes,
to
yeah.
see how the coffee flows, and it's all about the flow, right? So
That's
you get
true.
the right.
That's all it's about, you know. And I think that's one of the things I realized too, because I can get really geeky. I'm sure you can get really geeky, especially when it comes to like pour over and immersion, like getting the right ratio and testing it. And I have all the other, you know, the refractometer and all that stuff. But with espresso, it's one of those things to where if it flows out okay, not too fast, just right, then you know you did it right, right? It's not so much of a scientific thing to it. I mean, it is scientific, but it's still one of those things to where if it comes out right, you can tell.
Yeah, especially if you yeah, the taste is like it's what really matters.
Yeah,
So I mean, you don't want to. I mean, oh, like how to dial in taste is different than trying to do the right ratios and all that
right.
other stuff. It's
Hmm.
um like one thing that I like to do with this machine is just create like a really long shot,
Ah,
like a spur over,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and I think most of the time it tastes better than a pour over if you're unless you're trying to just get pure acidity, right?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. You know,
so
you
I
bring up a
was.
good point. I may try that way because I know what I'm thinking about doing is, of course, just pure espresso, just like a 1 to 2 ratio or whatnot, and then I was thinking about doing an americano with that same coffee, and then probably like a specialty drink or something. We can talk about that too because I know that's one of your questions. And just to see the different elements of that coffee, you know. But so when you say when you do it, you're just extracting more. So you're putting more water in that same cup, right?
Yeah, actually, if you mess up your shot, you can always fix it back up with a little bit of like that Americano style. Like give it a little bit of hot water, running hot water.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's not always a waste if your shot comes out wrong.
that's true.
I am.
So
I
so
am. I'm
So
having it right now. The on the
okay,
desk.
okay.
I'm enjoying it. It's a good morning cup. I think I heard you talk about it like that.
Yeah, it's well, to me, if you roast it darker, it is more so like a morning cup. But to me, if it was a medium roast, I tend to like it more as a as an afternoon cup because it's so different, unique. Are you tasting? What's the type of acidity are you tasting on it?
It
Is it
definitely can taste the acidity now. When I
okay?
was cupping it, it was a little bit more difficult.
Uh huh.
But but yeah, I do to taste like the like a nectarine style like acidity,
Yeah, yeah,
um, or even like a tangerine.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Do you taste? Do you taste any sweetness on it?
I say like an aftertaste.
Yeah,
Like the
yeah,
remaining, like the middle part is like the after is a little bit more sweet than the beginning, and then um like it dissipates to like a flat like
yeah,
like flat, and it just stays there. It is high body
yeah,
because I can still taste it, so it's got like a lot of lingering taste to it.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's kind of like what I get from it too, especially from the when it's a medium roast. It, I don't know if this is the right way to say it. I don't think people picked up on it, but like when I put on my thumbnail
Hmm.
for like the Honduras coffee, I should put salt on it.
Salt?
and
Oh, okay. You know what? Let
and
me try that. I have some saline water. I'm gonna do that right now.
okay, because it kind of well naturally kind of has that. It kind of just dies off, but it doesn't have a sweetness on it. It just has like a salty type of taste to me, which is weird.
Yeah, by itself, yeah, that is weird. I'm actually right before you said it, I was gonna tell you because it's like after a long period of not having another sip, I'm detecting a little bit of saltiness, and
Yeah, yeah, and it's weird as hell. I'm like, you
yeah.
know, I don't. I think I talked about it too, but it's one of those things where I don't need a 50-50 split of sweetness and acidity. It needs to be, it has to complement each other, but this one is like
Mm.
100% like
It's both
acidity and salt,
and both.
right?
Yeah, both ends. It's like it's one end of the spectrum, and then like just like immediately jumps to the other. Like it's wacky.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. Okay, but
So,
I did add more salt, like a salt saline drop to it, which has a little bit of salt, and it honestly tastes the same.
see
uh,
exactly. So it didn't really do much.
that's funny. Yeah. Hmm.
But like we're talking about, like the V60 is my go-to brewer. It really is one of those things to where I can do in the back of my head. I could just I have like the ceramic. I have like two plastic ones. I even have the size 3. I had the smaller one. I just use it all the time. It's just my go-to type of dripper. And
Yeah. Is
I
the smaller one mean the number one or
number one, yeah, I
yeah.
had the number one, and I was able to put it in a Mr. Coffee machine,
Hmm.
and so I like to configure it that way.
So it does all the work for you?
It
Like,
does, but it's still not the same. I think I'm gonna play around with that eventually, like how to make a good cup of coffee out of Mr. Coffee, which is gonna be extremely hard. You know?
what do you mean? Because Mr. Coffee is a brand, right?
Yeah. Uh huh.
What kind
It's
of
non
machine?
specialty coffee maker.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's like I used to actually start. I used to have a grinder that was Mr. Coffee, like one of those blade ones.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, it did the job for the college days. That was, when I was
Yeah.
going to college. But it's really the one that I mean, it's still the same model and everything. If you look it up on Amazon, I
Okay.
mean, it's a really good design. It's easy to clean. Because you can just take the cup out and like clean it. versus it being
Gotcha.
attached to the machine. So for anyone looking to get started, just intro that's a really good machine
Okay. Okay.
to
And you
get you
said it
to
had the
grind.
grinder on it too?
Yeah, to especially if you're trying to just grind your own. Because it's not a coffee maker; it's just the grinder, Mr.
Okay.
Coffee Grinder, and it's got like I guess like a cup setting, like how many cups you're trying to make, but it's just better to just go all full manual, um, meaning just like
Yeah.
use the technique of shaking it to try to
Yes.
evenly cut the blade, get the blades to cut the beans, because if you just hold it down and it starts grinding up, it's not gonna, um, you know, for anyone who's just getting started, you want to try to get like an even like unimodal for pour over and all
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
for espresso it's a different game, but when you're trying to just do like a brew, any brew that requires non-pressure, and you're trying to get more clarity, definitely a uniform cut
Yeah.
is always gonna help a lot.
Okay. Nice.
Hmm.
Nice. I'm gonna try that.
That's actually also one thing that got me more interested in coffee in the beginning. Things that I didn't know that affected the coffee, and the grinder being
Oh
the
yeah.
most important one. Yeah,
You
the
know,
grinders.
I was thinking about like that because it's one of those variables. There's so many different variables in coffee, and I'm like, every time I try to think about making some content around it, I'm like, wait, this is actually more complicated than a simple 5-10 minute video, right?
Yeah, that's what draws people away, sadly.
Yeah.
Um, but if there's anything that you can just probably like sum up into one video and get people to just have good coffee and without even going like the deep into the
Too deep
rabbit.
into rabbit hole.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd always be start off with good beans,
Yes.
right? Start off with better beans, freshly roasted, preferably from your local, um, you
Exactly.
know, yeah, locally. Always support small business. Um, in fact, I got lazy one time and I decided not to look for for someone nearby. At the time, my wife was pregnant, so she couldn't
Yes.
have anything like highly caffeinated. So I needed
Right.
some decaf. I picked up some from around the corner here at Starbucks, and I was very disappointed. Like about like
Yeah.
quarter of the beans are just like already like broken inside, and
Yeah.
they're selling out quick,
That's crazy.
very quick.
That's the hilarious part about it. It's like they can literally do whatever the hell they want to, and they're gonna still sell out. You know.
Yeah, I mean, they're they're good. They're good. What is it called? Second wave, or the
Yes.
third wave? Like they really they're ahead of the game when it came to bringing coffee to America. Um,
Exactly.
so you can't really blame them because of
You can't
their
really fault them.
size. Yeah, because of the size. You can't fault them. They have so many things to other than just beans to worry
Yeah,
about.
that is
Yeah,
so true. That's so true.
but yes. Do you have a question for me?
Yeah. So what's your method of choice?
Oh,
What's your
well,
of making coffee like on a regular?
on the regular, um, go to same V60.
Okay.
There's so many things, V60ers, I guess you can call them V60 people or pour overs.
Yeah.
That's I always recommend that one. And mainly because it's there's so much you can do with it.
Yeah.
Um, meaning, it like the batch size is very important to me.
Yeah.
I had to opt for the 02, which is like it's supposed to be enough for two people.
Uh huh.
But in reality, you can do a lot more
Oh
than that.
yeah.
like I found that out when I was trying to do a large batch for like a group of friends,
Yeah.
and and yes, it's the one I have specifically. It's the glass one.
It's the
I
glass one.
used to have
Oh man.
yeah, I used to have the like the plastic one,
Uh-huh.
and that one I did every day for a good while. Like the plastic one, you know, it might people say it holds the heat in like for
A little bit
longer.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit better and um, more uniform, which is important. Yeah, but the glass one, I mean, I really like the looks.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
I
pretty
don't.
cool. Yeah, I go back and forth now. Like I do prefer the plastic, but for sometimes I bring up the ceramic and I'm like,
Oh,
oh, okay. Oh, this is because
ceramic.
they're exact same color and everything. So sometimes it's like, oh
Yeah,
wait, it has some weight on it.
yeah. For ceramic, I actually, I whenever I actually tested the ceramic. Well, it's not a V60, but it's a what's that other one called? Mm, the Kalita.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah,
ceramic Kalita. I tested that one out and try to like compare what I like
yeah.
versus what my wife liked, and I ended up picking the Kalita.
Okay.
But you know, wife always wins. I used to do, you know, I don't want to do like two different batches,
No, 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 exactly. Yeah, yeah.
so that's what that's why I'm saying it's like my preferred
I
choice
see.
is
Yeah, so it's just a
V60.
lot easier. It's
I've
just
done it for such a long time now that it's just natural. And I'm still, you know, I'm still doing playing around with it, and it surprised me. Like I can get other flavors that I didn't know I could get if I
yeah,
were to just do like multiple pours and control the timing.
exactly. Let me
Um,
ask you this: are you really big into the whole time thing?
yes,
With
the weighing, the timing. It's very important for you to have a skill. If you're, especially if the timer. I mean, you can use your phone for the timer,
yeah,
but
that's interesting. I don't.
it's very
I
important.
really don't even care about the time
Hmm.
because
Yeah, that.
because I think the reason why is because I can I have that refractometer. So of course the best tool is of course the palette, right? But
Yes.
I'm always like, okay, I can see what the coffee is actually extracting, what I'm tasting, and at times I'm like, well, me personally, I actually like slower brews. Do you like faster brews? Where are you on that?
I try to aim like around 3 minutes,
Okay.
because of like you know that diminishing returns of in time. So you know it's like if it's like a slower, it's usually not good. If you're trying to get more of the like clarity, I guess you would say.
Uh huh.
Um, because I mean, if you're gonna have your coffee just sitting in water, um, like you
You don't
probably
want it to
aim
over
more.
extract, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, have you seen the Hario Switch?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think that one would be
I was
probably
thinking about
pretty
getting one of
good for
those.
you. Yeah, that one you should think about. You know, probably. You know, just it's too bad they don't sell the bottom piece separate.
Uh
You have
huh.
to buy both. But definitely, you know, try that one out. It might, you know, like time is very important. Like you were saying, you like longer brews. You said, but I
Yes.
think it's
Yeah.
because you haven't played around with maybe like technique. Um, like I did see one of the videos where you were doing the pour over,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh yeah, definitely, you know, definitely more like the way that like I would say is more like someone who's like wants to leave it there,
Uh
leave
huh.
it, let sit and forget about it, right? And
Uh huh.
let the water do its job. But it's
Right. 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 Right.
more, I guess, if you want to get more out of it, you have to put a little bit more labor. And that's another
So do
thing
you
that,
have, let me ask you this. So do you have how many pours do you usually do? Do you stir it too? What's your particular recipe?
um, well, my My go-to recipe now is just trying to stick with like a bloom. From a
Okay.
bloom, I would do two more pours. Try
Okay.
to I try to like stop somewhere halfway, but depending on how fast I see the water flowing, because I like to jump between different beans. I don't like to
Okay.
just stay with one.
Right. Right. Right.
That's also why espresso, like I kind of use it um like whenever I set my espresso grinder to a
Uh huh.
certain setting, I don't want to mess around with it again. So it's like I do get tired of having the same espresso
Uh huh.
every morning.
Right. Right. Right.
So
Right. Right.
that's why I'm like, just stick
I think a
with.
lot of times I keep mine pretty much empty until I do one or two
Mhm.
cups of espresso, like you said, because
Yeah.
nobody wants a whole. You want to try different things. So
Yeah,
do
yeah.
you? So do you mainly determine? I guess so. I guess you determine. You tell me if I'm wrong or right. You determine how quickly it comes down by the grind setting.
Yeah, so the grind setting definitely I I always set that as a factor that's um like I always have I have the fellow oud grinder,
Okay.
and it's got like settings on it, right? It's like these weird settings that it's like between 1 and 2 there's like two little like clicks, and it's like so every 3 clicks you're up one number.
Uh
It's a
huh.
little weird. And then not to mention it's like a vertical style, flat flat
Uh huh.
flat
Uh
brew.
huh.
So when it comes out and it's spinning, it's um it's fed through like a tiny auger, so it doesn't really help with like a slow feed, which would definitely be better, but
Uh huh.
it you know I don't really have the time to kind of like throw in one at a time when it's like a lighter brew, like lighter
Right.
roast. I mean, like a lighter roast. I've been getting into a little bit more of a lighter roast lately, and you know it's easier to grind higher for
Yeah. Yeah.
like I used to think uh grinding like more finer is always would be better with
Yeah.
the longer, like little bit of longer brew time. But I was mistaken when I tried this technique. I think it's like the um, devil's brew,
Uh huh.
where it's like 6 pours, and it's like it seems a little like excessive,
Uh huh.
but it does work. Um, yeah, and
I'm definitely
like
gonna have to
I'll share
try
some with
that.
you. Yeah, I'll share one of those with you. But after the podcast,
Yeah. Yeah.
and two of them actually. I think I forget his name. I'm really bad with name, by the way. But
Yeah.
OJ's
Yeah.
really easy to remember your name. But yeah, I was going on a rant, and I already kind of forgot what I was talking about. The grind. Oh yeah, the grind setting. Um, I try to stick with like something for like that I think that will be good for pour over.
Yeah.
Sometimes
You kind
like
of
you
just have
might,
a starting
yeah,
point,
starting
right?
spot, and from there, if my brew was like a little bit over, like, well, not like a little bit, but if it was like 4 minutes, then I'm definitely going to find. If it's under 3 minutes, then yeah, I need to go more uh
You know,
more
you
finer.
bring
I
up
mean, I'm
a
sorry. If it's too fast, I have to go finer.
you tying
And
it up.
it's
You bring
yeah,
up a
yeah.
really good point. It's one of those things because I know we're close to time and you have to go soon. I want to talk a little bit about the Brazilian, but it's the interesting thing that you're just saying this. I mean, it's something I knew, but now that you're saying this, it makes a lot of sense to the point where I mean, we all have our different ways of measuring taste with coffee, right? Either you have gadgets or you don't, but you still have a system, you know? And if something doesn't seem to work, then it's easy for you to change that system. For instance, like the whole grind setting. And you're like, oh, if it goes over this much, and of course you're still tasting it, that's how you base your instruments, and that's pretty cool. And that kind of opens up the world of like, more so giving people the right to have their own protocols.
You
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 know,
do, yeah, you do. But and it's really important for those people to be aware of these things that affect. Some people don't know, and they might just give up on it because
it's not tasting
maybe
right from the get
yeah,
go.
they know something. It's not tasting right, but they can't figure out what it is, and it could just be letting the coffee rest longer. Like every
Right,
single factor,
everything
it's in this
matters.
coffee world. Yeah, which in the coffee world, any little thing could mess it up,
You
right?
know, exactly. And I think I may actually do some type of post about that because it's one of those things to where I'm still going to use my gadgets because I tend to just lean on them and also use it with my palate. But I'm purposely going to see if I can calibrate my way of thinking with all the information that I have. Like, like you said, just playing around with grind setting, you
Yeah.
know, and seeing how that works with the flow. And if it's over this amount of time, then let me go ahead and change this up, or doing different pours and all that stuff. Because I played around with that from time to time, but it's pretty cool to talk to another coffee person to
Yeah,
kind of get different ideas, you know?
yeah. When if you do it, I would suggest starting from like, I guess like from the roaster point, like if you
Yeah, 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 yeah.
what do you like when someone's brewing your coffee, what do you want them to experience?
Balanced
And
and flavorful, really. That's the
exactly
biggest thing.
now, and then you try to maybe guide people into how to get that from your brew, like the way you enjoy it. Not everyone's going to enjoy it the same way, but
Yeah.
if some people don't really know, they're just like, I'm open to suggestions, and then that's where the role of like listening to a podcast like this, or
Yeah.
someone else who's more experienced with it, like plays a critical role in that. In oh, do you want to improve your coffee, or are you happy with it?
Right, exactly. And I think I talked about that a couple podcasts ago. It's like, hey, that's my biggest, I wouldn't say gripe, but that's one of my biggest anxiety points, to where as soon as the coffee leaves me, no matter what I do tell somebody about the coffee, it's not mine anymore.
Definitely. It's
And it's theirs. It's theirs to explore, to enjoy.
not just that, but the responsibility of the of who the barista or whoever's brewing at home. It's their responsibility now to try to to get the best out of it if they want
Yeah.
to, and it's an option. It's it's like
So,
everything
so
free
true.
will.
So true. So
But
before we leave off, because I'm gonna be respectful of your time, is so what do you think about the Brazilian? That Brazilian is, like I said, is my best seller. It is. I'll give you more detail. I'll send you a actual link to where I get it from in big bags. But it's Brazilian Oberon. It's probably one of the first coffees I got when I started doing like farmers markets, and it got to the point to where I'll give somebody like the Honduras coffee or something like really out there,
mm-hmm.
and they'll have it from time to time. But every single time they will come back for that Brazilian, and I'm like, that's something I don't want to have all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Just me being a so to speak, coffee snob. But that's what people love, and that's what they gravitate to, and they don't really change it
Yeah.
up. But again, I just kind of want to know what you thought about it, because I gave you a decent amount to also
No.
to roast too whenever you get to
Definitely.
that.
I will get to that soon. This week. Or like, what is it? Yeah, I am. I actually don't feel like it needs much of a introduction. Brazil, Mexico
Uh-huh.
are two of the go-to coffees for someone like the people pleasers, right?
Right,
Smells.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So. So I think one of the reasons is could be because of like Brazil is like the highest exporter in coffee, like in terms of quantity, right?
You're right.
Um, so they might have that monopoly of what coffee is supposed to taste like.
That's what they're tasting anyway, right?
Right.
That
And
I
so,
see.
it's like that chocolatey, like the nuttiness, it's all
Uh huh.
there. And, it's a it's a perfect coffee for someone who wants to add it to like their morning cup with like some milk, some
Some
sugar,
creamer.
some
Yep.
creamer. Yeah, it's like majority of people are that's what they're gonna do. Um Sadly, they might not even get a chance to try it without
Right. What you
any of
think?
that.
Did you say you cupped it, or did you also brew it too?
Well,
What'd you
right
think
now,
of it?
actually, as I'm speaking, I'm giving it a little bit of a brew right now. Oh, what do you know? My battery died on that one. That explains why I brought this one out. Um, so I'm just gonna have to wing it without no time, but um, I do have like a watch, so I'm gonna give it like a 40-second bloom.
Okay.
So so I was saying about about that. I did cup it. I did cup it. It was out of the two, it was my favorite.
Gotcha.
More closer to like my sort of like cup of tea,
Uh huh.
or you can
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
cup of coffee.
Yeah.
um, so so one of the things I like is that it was pretty close to my Brazilian too. I have a Brazilian decaf,
Okay.
and they're very similar. So it was something I'm familiar with,
Yes.
that I've roasted before, and it's I'm pretty sure they're close to the same like farm almost or whatever mill they collected it at. Pretty sure they are because like if my Brazil was not caffeinated, it would be probably even closer. That's what I
Closer to
imagine
what
because
this is. Gotcha.
yeah, I have this Swiss water process Brazilian,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
You still
so
kind of taste that in it a little bit, right?
yeah, so definitely none of the chemicals are used to take away the caffeine. It's all water processed, right?
Yeah.
But definitely I enjoyed it. I mean now I was like I'm like I'm gonna wait until the podcast to do a pour over, and then my battery died on the scale. So yeah, I'm just trying to time it around 3 minutes, and yeah, or just by like feel looking at it.
Go on, Phil. Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's
so
the
I
beauty of
want
it too, because
yeah.
we get like oh crap, I don't have my things or my scale, and after a while, because I've done that a couple of times, like a couple of months ago,
Mhm.
to where I purposely, because I was just more so trying to get an idea, yeah, I mean, get an eye or the mind frame of other customers that are not specialty like focused, so they don't have a scale, they don't have but again, it's one of those things to where, just like as I was talking about with you, with the whole how many times you pour, how you go by time, they still have a system too, so I'm sure for the
Mhm.
most part it's going to be just fine with the way you brew it and all that stuff.
Yeah, you have to think about forgiveness also.
Uh-huh.
Some uh, some some coffees are more forgiving than others. Mm. Especially when roasting it, right? Us as like a roaster, we kind of get like kind of like a first view of the coffee before
Yes.
the who before the buyer. Um, but we get to see, okay, like this coffee is a little bit arrogant, or he does
Right.
not want to um, for some reason. Oh, you know what? Give me a second. Sorry. I definitely went over on that. I got so I
Or
got
you went
so
over
into
on
just
time
talking.
on your time or something,
Uh,
or
oh no, no, not the time. I can stay a little longer, no problem. But definitely speaking of forgiveness. Um, the
Push the
grinder,
button. Push the button. Yeah.
that in between, like actual brewing, that
Yeah.
like the
I'll give you
time,
time.
like how
Okay.
long has it been since it's roasted, and it's very, very, very important with everything. Um, I hardly believe that.
Right. Right.
Um, so yeah, it's still a little hot right now. Just
Yeah.
waiting for
Yeah.
it to cool
Do
down.
you? That's a good question. Do you? So it sounds like you're more so like me too, where you don't like it or really drink it when it's like totally hot. You like let it cool down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not, like old school. It's got to be piping hot to burn my
Yeah.
tongue, kind of like, or else, that I think is just mainly from, you know, trying to hide the taste. Maybe I could
Yeah.
say, but definitely when it comes to good coffee, do I prefer to wait for it to cool down, and then I'm able to like kind of like just enjoy it a little bit more. Take bigger gulps sometimes if
Yeah.
you if you really want some of that. Um, but I solely believe that you shouldn't be just drinking coffee for the caffeine to get that
Right.
morning
Right.
wake. It's really miserable way of like
I would say so
living.
too. It's like
With,
that's kind of like I don't know if you remember in college how like people were like, "Oh, you just have to keep drinking beer until you enjoy it,"
oh
but
yeah.
but beer still kind of tastes the same. So I was like,
No, I remember now that you bring it up. Yes, definitely. Don't, or there's maybe somebody who just wants to keep drinking until they, like they have that feeling, right?
"Yeah,
Of like a buzz. Um, Maybe someone's really tired and they want to have the feeling of like like being more awake, right? Um, I think there's other ways of doing it. Doesn't really require coffee, but more natural ways. Because caffeine is an addictive substance, right?
right,
You
it
might
is
have a headache the next day if you don't have, if you don't take some sort of withdrawal symptoms. So I do encourage not to overdo your caffeine. Know how much you can take, especially if you're very sensitive to caffeine. Like
exactly." Yeah, don't go
don't
too crazy with it. Yeah,
feel crazy. Like some people can drink caffeine all day and they can still sleep like babies.
yeah, I can do that most of the time, but I still try to cut it off. Like I usually have like one, probably 2 cups of coffee.
Yeah,
You
I try
know,
to stick with no more than three if it's a long day. Um, so I'm about to try this again. The Brazil as a V60.
okay,
Still warm, unfortunately, but that's because I accidentally went over it with like the water. Um, but I can still detect the chocolatey, the nuttiness. It's
yeah,
still there from like the cupping. It's
okay, okay.
the cupping is still there. So it's really really hard to mess this one up, I think.
Yeah,
And
and I think that's the beauty of it really. Is like you can roast it so many different ways and kind of brew it so many different ways. You can't really mess it up and I think that's what you want in the bestseller actually.
it's something safe, right?
It's something
Something that
safe.
that's gonna you're gonna it's like a baby. You're handing it off, and whoever you send it out to, they're gonna know. I mean, well, they're gonna get the taste that you as a roaster want them to experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
No matter what brew style, they'll get
Doesn't
it.
matter.
Yeah,
So very true.
yeah, but that's right. That's Brazil for you.
That's Brazil. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I'll still send you the link to like the actual where I get it from and all that stuff. But yeah, that's you can't really go wrong with that. And I think that's a good introductory for a lot of people, to kind of see what coffee, even if it is at the bottom of the barrel, specialty score, but it's still specialty, right?
Mhm.
It still works with people to go for that first, you know.
Yes, yes. The even if it's bottom barrel, they'll if you were to give them something that's grade one maybe from Ethiopia, they wouldn't. They would
They'll
definitely.
see something that's wrong with it, right?
Yeah, something's wrong with this coffee. They're like, be like, why does it taste like juice?
Yeah,
They'll be asking questions. This isn't coffee, or it's good actually for people who don't like coffee. Maybe they prefer something more like that's
yeah,
more acidic,
you're right. That's right. That's so true. That's a good point because most of what they're used to is a Brazilian. So giving them something more fruity,
less bitter, more of that that fruitiness is
yeah,
always a good introduction for someone who just doesn't like coffee in the traditional sense of coffee, meaning that Brazilian you were speaking of so much.
yeah.
So
Dang, that's cool. That's so cool. So I'm really curious because nobody's said anything yet about the Kenyan. I'm really curious to see what you think about it during the week. You know, if I was too hard on it or
that's what I'm thinking. But I haven't opened them yet. They're still fresh in the bag. So I'm saving it for I'm gonna cup these all together. And
okay,
then we can talk about it next time.
for sure, man, that'll be awesome. And then the next one, oh, the place that I usually get them from is called you probably heard of it, Crown. Is it Royal Coffee?
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, I think Unreal. I've rings a
I think
bell. It
they're
rings a bell. It does ring a bell.
yeah, and they have a lineup they call like Crown Jewels.
Mm-hmm.
And in my next coffee, I call it the roaster's coffee because it's not really going to be on the website. One, because it's not that much of it
Mm-hmm.
because they give you like 22 pounds of it. So I mainly use that for my smaller roaster, but it's a Colombian pink bourbon, and that's going to be the next thing. That's the video that I just put up a couple of hours ago.
That's cool. That's cool. You've been roasting it for a while, or is it gonna be
No,
your first?
no,
Okay.
I got it about a month ago. I roasted it about three weeks ago, and I had a cup of it. When did I have a cup of it? About a week ago. So about 2 weeks after roast, because I like to let it wait, you know, because that
Definitely.
first couple of days it messes up your mind when you're like, man, this is great, and then later on you're like, wait, it doesn't. It's changing too much.
Yes, it's
But
it's very important to let it sit for a minute or two.
exactly,
Especially if you just roast it the next day, you don't want to throw it in an espresso machine. It's too much
mm-mm,
pressure that's
exactly.
being released, and I wouldn't even do a pour over in the first 3 days because there's just too many bubbles that are
It's too
just
many.
messing
Yeah,
up. Mm,
exactly. So I think the 2 weeks when I tasted it, I was like, okay, all right, okay, we have something here. I think it's a lot
yeah,
different than the Kenyan to me.
yeah.
It's more flavorful, and I think I even actually over extracted it, and it was still pretty tasty. So, and I think that was extremely light roast that I did of it, but it brewed pretty well. So I think what I'm gonna play around with is espresso. That's the first application that I'm gonna use with the three three 3 weeks. 3 weeks is good enough for espresso, you know.
That's interesting. Um, yeah, in 2 weeks definitely safe enough to drink any coffee, I believe. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
So
that's
but I
that's good.
really don't know where the challenge is gonna go. That's why like if you have any ideas or anything and like even like to the point I think it'll be cool to, once I roast it a couple more times, probably send you some of it too
Hmm.
as the actual roast, but also as the green coffee to see what you taste, and then we can talk about it some more. Because again, I don't. I am a very I keep to myself. I have my own hobbies. I like to do a lot of things on my own, but it'll be really cool, kind of like this podcast, to just like, hey, what do you think? You know, and it's not so much of a right or wrong thing. It's just like getting different perspectives and seeing how it works, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing what other people think and also what you think with your own unique background,
Yeah,
and
it's
your approach to
definitely
it.
it is a very good perspective to view this as like you can't just stay in a bubble and expect everyone to to kind of like have the same taste buds and everything.
Right.
So there's everyone has a different palate. Um, whether some people are chefs and they've experienced a lot more taste than the normal amount of like just your average food maybe,
Uh
but
huh.
they have some people have the gift of ratatouille, you can say.
Right. Right. They could
Like,
just kind of just like, let me do this. And I was like, oh, that's amazing.
yeah, but not everyone's a chef. Not everyone's a chef, so
Yeah.
it's up to like, basically it's up to the roaster to give them what
Give them the best
they
product
yeah.
that they possibly can,
Yeah, and not only that, but to know if they're like kind of like a DJ, you have to know, are they enjoying? If not, then you have to switch, give them something else,
You got to switch it
or
up. You got to be aware.
switch it.
Yeah.
Yes, be aware. So it is a good perspective to do of like a coffee, maybe like name it coffee in perspective or something. Or
Yeah. I love that. I love that
yeah.
for sure. Cause that's the beauty of it, really. Cause like, okay, what do you think about this? Nah, I wasn't getting that taste.
Good,
you
good.
know, it's like, why?
What does it taste like? Tastes like coffee.
It's like,
Tastes like
oh,
coffee. Okay.
okay.
What else do you detect in it? Just like
It's coffee. That's all it tastes, right?
mm-hmm.
That's so true.
All right. Okay. Well, it was good. Thanks for having me here in your podcast.
Awesome. Awesome.
Remote.
Yeah, I'm gonna start putting them on YouTube once I kind of walk through that process too. But I will start working on the transcript and all this stuff.
I'll
And
send.
and
Yeah, I'll send over some maybe some cupping like little routine or
okay,
strategies. Mainly from Scott Rayo. If you read his book, he'll like
yeah,
the yeah they'll there's two books he has. The second one, it's like uh
I
like the
think I
coffee
have two of
roasters.
his. I think I have two.
Yeah.
I didn't get the other one. I got the roasting one, and then I think the taste. I think it was one of his first ones actually,
Yeah,
because I didn't get the espresso.
I think it's a common practices for
Yes.
that one will if you go towards like the last few like the last couple chapters, they'll have like a routine for cupping. I try to stick with that one, but there's also other ways of doing it. But definitely it's there's videos out there on how to do it, and whatever works. Just try to stick with like the same variables, same
Yeah.
heat temperature, and everything. Same timing. Like if you always like end up taking your taste like at 10 minutes, you know,
Just
maybe you
stick to
live
that,
in a
right?
colder environment and you have to do it like at 8 minutes, maybe. But it's like the temperature is always gonna affect the taste, and that's
Yes.
associated with like the time
All of
and
it matters, time and
all of it.
temperature.
Yes,
I have to
and
realize
temperature.
that a lot, especially when cuz I do smoky meat too. So I always have to like wonder like, okay, is this brisket almost done, you know? Yes. No, I appreciate it. Appreciate it. So yeah, we'll talk soon. We'll talk soon. We'll be emailing each other. All right, Ro. All right, take care. All right, thank you. Bye.